Irvingman, watches shows sitting on his can. Tells a story, tells a joke, monetizes cause he's broke. Look out, here comes the Irvingman.
Magneto was the foremost enemy of the X-Men. We first saw him in 1963. He and his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants fought the original 5 X-Men, consisting of Cyclops, Beast, not the blue guy, he became that later, Iceman, Angel, and Marvel Girl, better known to later readers as Jean Grey. In fact, from the beginning, the team usually called her Jean because Marvel Girl is too hard to say quickly. Anyway, by 1968, he was well established. We knew who he was, what he looked like, and what his deal was. I guess today the X-Men are on vacation and Spiderman is filling in for them.
The Science Hall of Fame has again failed to elect me. And this time they're going to pay for it. The whole world will learn what Dr. Magneto's power can do.
And I guess that dippy-looking lunatic is filling in for Magneto. No, he's Dr. Magneto. He plays with magnets. He just used that one to turn the lighthouse light off, and there's a ship dangerously close to the rocky shore. Good thing Spider-Man is hanging out on top of the lighthouse. Wait, he's what? All right, that was impressive. Maybe that was the Phantom's problem last time. He couldn't do a decent evil laugh. The lighthouse keeper can't get any of his controls to budge. They all seem to be frozen in place.
My light's worth a try anyway. Come on, fellas. You can make it.
He carries a light on his belt that can rival a 10,000 candle power light bulb. Well, you know, Peter, lighthouses boost the power of their super bright bulbs by using parabolic reflectors to concentrate the light. If you pointed your light at that, this might work even better.
Spider-Man saves freighter.
Never mind.
You can't tell me the captain couldn't have brought his ship in without the help of that publicity-seeking show-off, Spider-Man.
But what about the lighthouse keeper's report that the equipment was magnetized?
Rubbish! There isn't that much concentrated magnetism in the world.
Jonah doesn't like to brag about his Nobel Prize for physics. With confidence like that, he must have one.
Not only do they put the story on the back page, my magnetic power is not even mentioned.
Nobody saw you do what you did, and you're surprised they didn't mention it. Does the phrase educated idiot mean anything to you?
Thanks to the interference of Spider-Man, my plan has failed.
What exactly was the plan? Crash that ship? To what end? Again, he did it anonymously. Neither Spider-Man nor the lighthouse keeper knows he exists, much less what he did. This guy needs to go to his local community college and take a few courses on how to do PR. Later, we're at Yankee Stadium. One of the most interesting things to me, one of the things that provides the biggest contrast between Marvel and DC at the time, was the way Marvel used real cities, real landmarks, and sometimes real people. DC, as we know, made up cities based on real ones and created their own universe. I got hooked on Marvel comics because they did this. I know other people's mileage varies, and to be honest, now that I'm finally out of my teens, I can see a place in comic literature for both approaches. I don't consider it a question of which one is better. What does that mean anyway? It's a matter of preference. Somewhere around the 90s, I thought about getting interested in comics again, but two things stopped me. The first was price. The ones I bought were 12 cents. Marvel apologized all over themselves in numerous releases when rising production costs forced them to raise the price to 15 cents. Suddenly, I was looking at $3 an issue, and I said, you gotta be kidding. The other thing that stopped me was when the movies started appearing and I saw how much everything had been retconned. I did some digging and discovered this had happened multiple times. Over at DC, I never heard the end of the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, and that was enough to make me stay away from there. These days, I like the movies. Sometimes I'll find myself comparing a character to what they were back in my day. But overall, I just watch them and enjoy them. That's what they're for, so may as well.
put that on the back page.
If Spider-Man gets involved, you can bet Jonah will. It's possible the Doctor doesn't understand the relationship between Spider-Man and the Daily Bugle.
Wallop and web snappers, how could that happen?
I won't even say it. And Spider-Man already pointed out the problem here. Nobody knows how it happened, much less who did it. Magneto seems determined to cause a disaster of some kind to get his name in the paper, but he hasn't told anyone his name.
I don't need proof that the tracks were broken. What I want is proof that Spider-Man deliberately wrecked those tracks, then fixed them just to get some free publicity.
You mean you're not going to print the story?
I'll print the story, all right, and the caption. Spider-Man nearly causes calamity.
He's appropriately indignant about Spider-Man stealing his thunder again, even though, as we all know, neither Spider-Man nor anybody at the Bugle has ever heard of him. Third time is a charm, he'll actually tell somebody his name.
By the time you receive this note, the massive bronze statue of Prometheus at Rockefeller Center will have been magnetized and flown to the top of the Empire State Building.
If he can get it to balance on top of that spire at the apex of the building, that could be the tourist attraction of the century.
At exactly noon, I will demagnetize it and send it crashing into the street below.
Oh, dear. How awful.
Dr. Magneto! Never heard of him.
Precisely the problem. I don't know why he thinks anybody outside of a narrow field of academia would know who he is. You have to earn to be heard, dude. And you don't do it by deliberately trying to hurt large numbers of people. You know what that does? It makes people mad. It makes them want to confine you to a little room with bars on the front. It doesn't get you what you want from the scientists.
Magneto. Seems like I've heard that name before.
What? The statue of Prometheus on top of the Empire State Building?
He really did do it.
Somehow I'm not surprised that Peter has heard of him. He's heard of every person in every field of science in every corner of the world. He's that good. That's not on top of the building. Anybody can move it up to a ledge. You said you were going to put it on the top. Come on, impress me with something besides your laugh. Needless to say, Spider-Man will break its fall. Then he'll go home and consult his books to find more on Dr. Magneto.
Dr. Magneto, Science Hall of Fame nominee, specialist on magnetism. Hall of Fame. I guess that's as good a place as any to start looking for a clue.
But as we know, he's not in the Hall of Fame. That's his problem.
My spider sense is vibrating. Maybe the clue I'm looking for is here. The Hall of Fame. I'm in pretty important company.
Also ancient company by the looks of those statues. Is anybody enshrined in here who was born after Jesus? Maybe that's why they won't let Magneto in. He's not dead enough.
Ha! The great Spider-Man, defeated by a one-force pull of my magnetic power.
Not yet, I'm not.
Surprised?
This year, the truly stylish spider will be wearing their web. Leaving it at home to catch bugs is so last year.
I have devised a way not only to magnetize metal, but wood, paper, cloth, anything.
He should try magnetizing that mustache. It appears to be allergic to a comb.
Did you ever consider helping people with your power?
The fools did not believe my theories. Now it is too late. And you, Spider-Man, will be the first to go. I'll give them a demonstration they'll never forget.
His plan is to pick the entire Hall of Fame up and drop it in the ocean.
You will stay here forever as a monument to my powers.
with Spider-Man in it, of course. Spidey has heard enough.
And me without my bathing suit.
Very funny.
You know, Doctor, I didn't come here completely unprepared.
What happened?
I would think it's obvious what happened.
Oops, you broke it.
I took the precaution of making an anti-magnetic webbing that would short-circuit your power if you didn't agree to use it for good.
He made it out of ground-up anti-magnets. You have to get those by mail order.
Yes, I know we have to print the Spider-Man captures Magneto story, but not on the front page. The back page? No! Some people start reading from the back.
Just print it on its own page upside down. Some people will assume you screwed up and won't read it. Others will assume you screwed up and will read it. Either way, you screwed up. Maybe this is a bad idea.
Say, how about putting it in the want ad section?
Mr. Jameson, may I suggest you put it in the personal column saying, not responsible for any good deeds done by Spider-Man. Signed, J. Jonah Jameson.
I'm glad I thought of that.
I like how Betty gets her digs in at Jonah and they go right over his head. Which is odd with that nice flat spot on top. You'd think they'd at least land and take a look around. Doesn't matter how long they stay, there's no chance of them penetrating. The X-Men. Okay. The phrase educated idiot mean anything to you? Would know who he is. Anybody enshrined in here good grief.